Hello gamers from around the world, this is Archimedes, the video game enthusiast from Germany, with maybe my last video before next gen kicks off. We have been waiting for the next gen consoles all year. And now, 1 week before the launch, the excitement in the air is obvious. And of course, one thing that I did in advance is to take 2 days off work for when the consoles come out so I can enjoy the Xbox Series X full time. But that's not what this video is about. So close to launch, we can actually feel that both Microsoft and Sony have stuff left to announce to get us even more hype. And in my last video I covered what announcements we can expect from Microsoft in November before the consoles come out. And if you think you can only wait and do nothing until we get more announcements or the actual consoles in our hands, look no further. There is a ton you can do in advance to prepare yourself to optimize your gaming experience when you actually have the new consoles in your hands. And yeah, we might have to rearrange our whole media center to be able to position the new consoles in there, especially considering the size of the PS5. But today we are discussing what you can do upfront to prepare yourself in the best way possible for the new Xbox. Of course, there's always the possibility to simply play games today to shorten the wait, but we will go through a bunch of things you can do to be sure your games, your hardware and setup work when you unpack your Xbox Series S or X. But before we go through all of that, I want to ask you for a favor. I put a lot of work into my videos and I try to grow my channel, so if you think you are enjoying what you see, then please consider to hit the like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to not miss out on future content. All of this does not cost you anything and is completely anonymous, by the way, but it helps me more than you think. And if you know someone who would enjoy this kind of content, please feel free to share it out. I really do appreciate all the support. And now, let's see what you can do to prepare yourself for the next gen Xbox. Okay, let's start with the preparation of the most important thing, our games. In 2017, when the Xbox One X came out, we had the chance to preload all the games and the enhancement patches for the Xbox One X on our base Xbox Ones and copy them on a USB drive so we can plug and play when the Xbox One X was in our homes. I recently asked Jason Ronald, head of Xbox Series Program Management, on Twitter whether we can preload all the Xbox Series X enhancement patches, and he answered that this won't be possible this time. Now, does that mean that we have to download hundreds and hundreds of gigabytes of game data on day one to our Xbox Series consoles? No, it doesn't. We can all download all cross-gen games, which are basically all the titles that are released on day one, up front on our current Xbox consoles. Then we copy these games to an external USB drive, and on day one, when we unpack our Xbox Series X or S, we plug in the USB drive with the Xbox One games or any back-compat games, and we simply have to download the enhancement patches and not the full games. This will definitely save us a lot of time, and so I highly recommend for you to pre-download the games, cause let's face it, on day one, on November 10th, the traffic on the Microsoft servers will be huge. And we're going to talk about which games you could pre-download in a second, but I want to get a couple of other preparations for day one out of the way. While you have your USB drive connected to the Xbox, you can also save all your settings that you have today on your Xbox console to that hard drive. Simply go to Settings, then to System, and there you can find a backup option which lets you save everything you have set up today to the USB drive. And why would you do that? Well, as you know, the Xbox One with the latest system update has the same UI than the upcoming Xbox Series consoles, so you can already set up everything in the system like you prefer it, like backgrounds and whatnot, and then simply import those settings on the new console and you are ready to go. Let's talk about a couple of hardware things next, especially some peripherals such as headsets. Make sure your accessories do have the latest firmware update. Microsoft advertised it that all of your peripherals, such as your headsets that work today on the Xbox One, will work on the next gen consoles as well. But many of the headsets need a firmware update for that. Just to give you an example, I have the Astro A50, and no, this is not affiliated marketing, it's just an example. But this headset today uses an optical port to be connected to the console. But since the Xbox Series consoles won't have an optical output, you have to update the firmware of the headset on your PC so it works via USB. And you can do that already, the patches are out. Something similar can be the case for your controllers, especially if they are not from the Xbox themselves, such as the SCUF controllers. But even if you have the original Xbox controllers, make sure that they have the latest update installed. So you get my point. I highly recommend to do a firmware update for all your peripherals, whatever they may be, so that you are ready to use them when you take your new shiny Xbox out of the box. Otherwise, this would only take away valuable gaming time with the new system. Okay, and then I want to talk a little bit about the question whether you need to upgrade your TV or monitor. I know some of you have already bought new TVs or displays to enjoy all advantages of the next-gen consoles. The important thing when upgrading the display is to be aware that your display or TV supports HDMI 2.1, variable refresh rate and Dolby Vision. Now there are only a handful TVs out there that support that, and most of those who upgraded have bought the LG OLED CX, which is an incredible TV, no doubt. But the question here is, do you really need to upgrade right away? If you have today a 4K TV that supports HDR, you are already getting most of the benefits from the new consoles. You can play your games at 60 frames per second at the full resolution and color gamut. And before you take out the pitchforks and come after me, I'm not saying that we shouldn't upgrade our TVs, because the unique benefits of HDMI 2.1 will be absolutely next-gen defining. 120 frames per second gameplay, for instance, is something that is only possible at 4K with HDMI 2.1. Another big upgrade will be Dolby Vision, a new HDR standard that will give us a color bandwidth and contrasts that we have never seen before, which by the way will be exclusive to the Xbox consoles. But my point is that most of the games today at launch won't support these features. 120 frames per second is only available in a few selected titles, and Dolby Vision won't be available for developers until early next year for the consoles. And one of the things I'm looking forward to the most is variable refresh rate, but most of the games, if not all, do not support that in the cross-gen phase. So my point is, since there's only a handful of games out there that take advantage of some of the HDMI 2.1 features, just wait for the TV series that will be released in the year 2021, because by then the HDMI 2.1 will become the standard and you will have a significantly bigger range of TVs to choose from, unless you're going today straight away to the LG OLED CX. Again, a fantastic but pricey TV that will future-proof you. And when the 2021 TVs come out, we already will have way more games out there that will support Dolby Vision, variable refresh rate and these super high frame rates of 120 frames per second. And if you are not sure what I'm talking about and what things like variable refresh rate are, I highly recommend my video on the technology of the Xbox Series X and RDNA 2. Okay, but another thing to prepare for next gen that many don't think of are your cables. There will be an HDMI 2.1 cable in the box of the Xbox Series X and S, so you are good to go here. But most of the time the wiring in the home entertainment center cannot be done with one cable. For instance, I do have my console today connected to my AV receiver, and then I'm going from the AV receiver to the TV. Now this means I also have to upgrade my cable going from the AV receiver to the TV. Oh, and of course make sure that whatever device you have in between the consoles and the TV also supports HDMI 2.1 pass-through. Or you might have to reconsider your wiring concept completely, because let's face it, there are barely AV receivers out there that support HDMI 2.1 correctly. So it might make more sense for you to directly connect your TV to the console and then connect from the TV to your sound setup via ARC, optical wire, etc, etc. But whatever you do, think about it and make sure you have the right cables with you so you can enjoy the full potential of the consoles day one. Well, and we already talked about you pre-downloading your games. The question of course is, which games will we play day one on our new systems? Well, I made a complete dedicated video for that, which I highly recommend if you want to see which games will be there on day one and the 2 weeks after that. For me it will definitely be of course Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Gears Tactics, The Falconeer and Watch Dogs Legions, which I already started on my Xbox One X, but I am definitely going to continue it on the Xbox Series X. Cyberpunk got recently delayed to December 10th, so with that game out of the way, in the first month of the console we will have time to enjoy other games. And make sure to let me know in the comments below which games you will boot up first on your Xbox Series consoles. By the way, I have seen the question whether it would make sense for you to buy the Xbox storage expansion card, cause you know, the Xbox Series X will have only 1 TB of internal storage and the Series S will have 500 GB of internal storage. So would it make sense for you to buy upfront the extension card? Well, let me give you my thoughts on this. You can play all your Xbox One games, the Xbox 360 games and the OG Xbox games from a regular external USB drive. Only the next gen games or the games that have special enhancements for the next generation will have to be played from the internal SSD or the external SSD expansion for that matter. Now with 1 TB or a little bit above 800 GB that are actually available, you can install in average something like 15 to 20 games on that hard drive. You can always store all the next gen games on an external USB drive as well, so all you have to do is a bit of storage management. Meaning if you run out of internal SSD space, simply copy the games that you don't play at the moment to the external drive and copy the one you want to play to the internal drive. My recommendation would be try the system out and you can judge for yourself if you want to make the investment into the external card or if that system works for you. There's also the question about how to transfer save files to the new consoles. And do not worry, you basically don't have to do anything here. Cloud save files are free for everyone on the Xbox One, whether you have a gold subscription or not. All you have to do is to connect your console to the internet and it will automatically sync all your cloud files for you. No action required from your side. When you start a game on the Xbox Series consoles, your save files will be there. And last but in no way least, if you are new to the Xbox ecosystem, make sure to create an account up front, for instance on PC, and you can even consider subscribing to Game Pass Ultimate so that you are good to go on day one with your new Xbox. And with that, I want to come to an end for this video. Next week Tuesday we will have the consoles in our homes and I for one can't wait to finally kick off the future of gaming. Of course, a release of a new console means busy times for content creators such as myself. So if you want me to cover a certain topic or aspect about the new console when it finally is in all our hands, make sure to let me know what you want me to cover in my upcoming videos. And yeah, expect over the next days more announcements to drop, cause Xbox has probably some surprises and announcements left for the days before launch. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button as well as the notification bell and consider sharing this out to other gamers. I would greatly appreciate it. And let me know in the comments below, how will you prepare for the next generation? What games will you boot up first on the new hardware? And besides here on YouTube, you can also hit me up on Twitter where I share a lot of opinions and gaming discussions. But for now, thank you very much for watching, I see you the next time and game on!